Morning guys, I'm Dave Canterbury with Self-Reliance Outfitters in the Pathfinder School. We're going to continue today and make another tool. And we have pretty much made ourselves a large set of tools from recycling material, both from using wood and using metal. And those two things go hand in hand. Working wood and working metal are two of the most important skills you can have for long-term self-reliance. So we've recycled a lot of things to make tools. And right now I'm kind of working on a set of chisels. And we made one chisel on video not very long ago, and since then I have made another one that was a little bit finer design, and I used an actual tool handle on it because I can get a hold of them fairly cheaply. They're about $2.50 Amazon Prime off Amazon for a Nicholson file handle. I took an old file, this is an old Nicholson, and I made myself a nice 3/4 inch chisel with it. I've also made myself a nice mortising chisel, which is a heavier square file, this is made out of, with a little bit steeper angle on it for knocking out mortises and things like that when you're doing mortise and tenon joinery and things of that nature. And today what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to make this gouge. And a gouge is a hollowing type tool. And the advantage that a gouge has over, say, a hook knife or a spoon knife is that you can use it in conjunction with a mallet to get deeper bites in the wood, or to use it for harder wood materials if you choose to. So it becomes a part of your chisel set, but it can also be a part of your fine carving set, because you can also use this thing with one hand or two and really get some fine manipulation with the tool to do fine carving work, as long as you make the tool right and it's good and sharp. When we're done with this one, we're going to have about $3 in this tool. And if you went and bought a good Swedish gouge, you're going to pay $60 for it if you buy it new. $3, $60. You be the judge. Okay, so we've got the bevel into our gouge now. We need to kind of even this up. We'll do that on the belt sander. And we'll just kind of even this front edge up. Look at it from both sides to make sure that we've got our everything even. And you look at it from both sides, make sure our flare is even. And if it's off a little bit, we can trim it down to match. And once we get that where we want it, now we can work on the bevel, which is actually going to be on the bottom side, because it's going to be a gouge. So it's going to be the same thing as a lot of our other woodworking tools for making concavities, where we want the bevel to the outside. We're going to have to bend the whole thing this direction. We want this to be a pretty shallow sweep on this gouge. So the first thing I'm going to do now that I've got everything evened up is I'm going to work on this bevel a little bit on this belt, and then we're going to heat it back up and get our curvature. I'm taking this slow and easy, and I've got a bucket of water right here to keep the tool fairly cool. Doesn't really matter too much at this point because we're going to heat it back up again anyway, but we really don't want to burn the steel up. A lot of this is just getting used to manipulating these grinders. This area of the slack belt really allows you to get a good curvature of the blade like this. Again, we're not trying to final sharpen anything yet. We're just trying to get the bevel that we're looking for so that we can bend it. That's not too shabby right there. Not overly sharp yet, which is exactly what we were looking for. We don't want it overly sharp yet. think we're ready to heat this dude back up and put our bend in it now. Okay, so I have a couple tools here. This one is a swedge block, and it just is a small block that allows you to create different shapes. This one was like a spoon. There's another spoon there. Then you've got some different rounds here, a couple angles here, and some rounds here. And then I've got a top tool from Liam Hoffman here, and this is what I'm going to use to create that bevel on that gouge. So I'm going to put this in here with the bevel down, like this. Trying to figure out which one of these dies I want to use. Not rushing into it. I'm doing it a little at a time. To get that bend. They don't need a whole lot more than that. It's actually not too bad. It's just bent off a little bit. We'll fix that. Now, if one tool's not giving you what you want, figure out something that will. So now I got a ball peen hammer on here. And I'm hoping that that's going to give me a better shot at getting this shape that I want here. Not hitting this thing very hard at all. Just trying to get my sweep even. That's a whole lot better right there. A whole lot closer to the mark of what I was looking for. Right there. Now we should be able to make a good gouge out of that. Alright, so we've got this dude ready to work on it. I got one spot I'm questioning myself on right here, but I think I can fix it when I'm final sanding it. And now I'm just going around the outside, getting my bevel cleaned up again. There's that spot. Take that off right there. And I'll fix that. And I'm just rolling it around this belt real gently. Alright, now we're going to buff this bottom side first, just to kind of see how cleaned up we can get that on the inside. Get a good amount of white on here. Really eat away some metal there. Get the inside of that nice and smooth. Get that kind of tapered down a little bit, and then we'll work at it from the other side. To get our final. Because that's where our true bevel is. Let's see. Go at that a little bit sideways here for a minute. Just to clean things up. And that's where we're going to get our mirror polish from, and we'll really see if there's any defects in our grind. Nothing left to do now but put it in the handle and see how she cuts. Then we'll know better about where we're at. A lot of people don't seem to like these cheap Nicholson tool handles that they make for files, but I love them. I mean, you can buy them things off Amazon Prime for about $2.50 a pop, and if you get the files cheap or free, I don't need a whole lot of this stuff. About the size of an M&M on there is more than enough. Have that thing all the way down on there. And when that dries, it ain't never coming off. And that gives me a good gouge. We'll see how good it is here in a minute. We're going to work on a little project with it, but $2.50 in the handle, about $1.25 in the file. That's a pretty nice gouge for $2.75. A whole lot better than you're going to buy at Lowe's or Home Depot or someplace like that, where it's going to cost you 20 bucks, or a really expensive one it's going to cost you 60 or 70. This one will do the job for you. This is called a Bodger's bib, and it needs a couple of holes drilled in it, and it just hangs off of your chest, so that if you're pushing something up against a work stop to draw a knife or to work on it, you're not burying the handle or whatever you're pushing against into your chest, and you have to create a divot right here to kind of set that work piece in. It's also good if you're working on spoons and you're burying them in your chest to kind of do close-up knife work. It works really well for that too. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and stick this in our hold fast real quick here, and we're going to try to use our gouge that we just made. Throw your hammer, Dave. We'll try to use this gouge that we just made to work on this. Now, first time I've used this tool, so I don't know what it's going to do. We're about to find out. So we're just going to go around the outside of this, just like this, around our outside line, fairly shallow to begin with. Kind of working our way in. Tell you what, that thing is dandy sharp, ain't no question about that. Man, oh man. A lot of guys, even some guys I've seen in the UK, prefer gouges for hollowing out spoons as opposed to traditional spoon carving type hook knives. So a gouge is a very, very versatile tool when it comes to stuff like that. We just work our way around this thing and kind of pop an eye out of the middle. Then we'll go through and clean it up. The fact that we've got that thing beveled on the back side helps it to lift itself out of the material instead of going deeper into the material, very similar to turning a chisel upside down. Get this piece out of the middle here so we can see what we're looking at here. Okay. Now we can kind of go through here and see exactly what we need to do to clean this up. I try to move this camera around for you guys so you can kind of see a little bit of a close-up here of how this gouge is working. I'm a little deep right here on this one spot, so I'm going to have to kind of clean that up a little bit by going at it from the side here. I'll tell you what, this gouge will definitely eat some wood. So we'll come in here like this. Right there's where I got a little bit deep. So we'll just kind of try to clean that up by going across the grain there. Got a deep grain line there wanting to pop out on us. I think we can come in at that deep from the side though and clean that right up. Just like that. I like the way that thing just runs right around. You know, it's no wonder that some of those guys prefer this to a spoon tool, because it really can just, once you get it going in the right grain orientation, the thing really does a nice job. I mean, look at that right there. That's beautiful. And it'll do some pretty fine work too, that's for sure. Okay. Got her cleaned out enough for a Bodger's bib for sure. I wouldn't be too awful ashamed of that if I was making a bowl for a spoon out of it, because I could come in there and clean that right up. And we did all of that with just this and a mallet, so you could definitely carve spoon bowls with that, no problem whatsoever. All right, folks, well, I'm Dave Canterbury with Self-Reliance Outfitters in the Pathfinder School, and I appreciate you joining me out here for another quick video on making a tool and making a gouge. I appreciate your views. I appreciate your support. I thank you for everything you do for our school, for our family, for our business, for all of our sponsors, instructors, affiliates, and friends. And I'll be back with another video as soon as I can. Thanks, guys.